Welcome to Blackwire. Today we're going to talk about the ban on bike taxis in Karnataka. Let's start with the basics. What is a bike taxi? If you don't know, it's a two-wheeler service. You book through an app like a cab, but quicker, cheaper, and better for dodging traffic when the roads are jammed. So you get on the bike, you wear a helmet, and you're off. Simple, efficient, and affordable. So do you know which platform most people associate with bike taxis in India? Obviously, it's Rapido. In Karnataka alone, they had more than 1 lakh registered riders. That's a huge workforce. So why do people use bike taxis instead of the regular traditional cabs or even autos? Because they make sense. Bike taxis make sense. They're fast, they cost less, and they help people to get from point A to point B without spending half of their salary on each ride. So students, delivery staff, gig workers, and even office goers, all kinds of people use bike taxi. Do you know how much people actually save? For a 4 to 5 kilometer ride, a Rapido trip usually costs anywhere between 20 to 30 rupees. If it is an auto rickshaw, it costs 50 to 70 rupees. And if you take a cab, it takes a minimum of 100 rupees. So during peak hours or rain, the charges for cabs and autos may actually double due to surge pricing. For daily commuters, bike taxis actually make the difference between being late or being stuck. So do you know how many people use bike taxis in Karnataka every single day? 1.2 to 1.5 lakh rides daily. Most of them happen in Bengaluru. That's lakhs of people relying on one type of ride to get through the day. And then all of a sudden came the ban. On 16th June 2025, Karnataka banned bike taxis. In April 2025, the Karnataka High Court ruled that bike taxis were allowed as long as they followed safety norms. Now that was a clear legal green light for platforms like Rapido. But just 2 months later, the state government issued a complete ban. So in April, the High Court gave a green light, but in June, the government has banned the bike taxis completely. What did the government have to say? So they cited the Motor Vehicles Act saying two-wheelers are not recognized as commercial passenger vehicles. So there was no press conference, there was no proper explanation, just a blanket order. So you may have a question, can a state overrule court directive like that? That's the legal conflict we are dealing with. So no advance notice, no consultation, just a sudden order from the transport department. Whether it was petrol vehicle, electric vehicle, app-based, it didn't matter. Everyone was asked to stop. For Rapido riders, it was work on Sunday. By Monday morning, they were sitting at home with no job. So for Rapido riders, these were not side gig jobs. For many riders, or they also call them captains, this was the main source of income. 20 rupee rides across the city added up to 800 to 1000 rupees a day. It helped them pay their EMIs, rent, fees, everything. So the auto and taxi unions have been asking for this for a long time. They said bike taxis were eating into their profits. Bike taxis pick up from anywhere, charge less, and often get more rides in a day compared to an auto or a cab. So naturally, passengers preferred bikes for shorter distances. Auto drivers saw it as unfair, like someone skipping the line while they were still waiting their turn. It's not just in Karnataka. Maharashtra has also banned bike taxis, West Bengal too. But Delhi allows bike taxis provided they are electric bikes, and even that is under review. So instead of figuring out a policy, many states are just blocking the service altogether. It's easier to say no than to design some rules and regulations. So the governments have taken the lazier route instead of bringing in regulations and policies for the safety of the passengers and the riders. So what happened to the riders? In Karnataka alone, over 1 lakh Rapido drivers were suddenly left without work. There was no backup plan, no relief fund, no direction, nothing. What do you expect them to do? So everyone was thinking that Rapido is done for, but Rapido came up with a brilliant idea. They made a shift in Karnataka. Instead of shutting everything down, they rebranded themselves. No rides, only parcel. Same bike, same people, just now delivering goods instead of passengers. But in many other states, Rapido is still operating bike taxis without interruption, depending on local regulations and temporary approvals. Let's also not forget who benefits from this bike taxi ban. Auto unions? Yes. taxi drivers, yes, and even platforms like Ola and Uber. Because fewer bikes mean people shift to more expensive cab rides, the demand goes up, surge kicks in, and commissions rise. So, is this about fairness or is someone making more money in the background? Let's not forget the real users. For lakhs of people, bike taxis were a daily lifeline. They were fast, cheap, and reliable. So instead of fixing the small issues like ID checks, helmet rules, proper app regulations, the whole system was scrapped. Was it really necessary? So what's my take? We didn't need a ban. We needed a policy. Instead, what we got was another knee-jerk reaction. Another case of avoiding problems instead of solving them. That's not the future India is building toward. This is Jagdish, and you're watching Black Wire.